I am speaking today on behalf of the Wisconsin Interfaith Climate and Energy Campaign, Incorporated, otherwise known as WICEC, or we call it WICEC, of which I am the acting state director, and which is a faith-based educational and advocacy organization of people of all faiths working for a sustainable future in Wisconsin. We focus our efforts in the issue areas of global warming, climate issues, energy policy in general, air quality, mercury and other toxic pollutants, public health, and policies needed for a sustainable future. We are especially concerned with ethics, moral values, and social justice related to these issue areas. Our constituency around the state numbers approximately 1,500 citizens of all faiths. And then as a personal note, I have a PhD in environmental ethics and a master's degree in political social ethics and public policy. And I have been teaching environmental ethics, energy ethics, and business ethics at the college level for over 35 years. As an organization, WICEC, my organization, does not have any position at this time on the need for or the details of this proposed power line or any of the new power lines proposed to be built in Dane County or elsewhere by the American Transmission Company. We believe that each power line project must be judged on its own merits by all parties or stakeholders involved, with the greatest weight given to concerns for public health, land use policies vis-a-vis urban sprawl, the nature and origin of the electric power to be transported. However, and this is our central point, we strongly support this proposal to further delay any work on any of the ATC projects in Dane County and in Wisconsin until a further independent study, as has been described here, can be made. We believe that the ATC report is not only incomplete, it is based on faulty and biased assumptions, and does not consider by far all the possible alternatives, many of which would be less destructive or even beneficial where building these power lines may be destructive. The fundamental flaw in all of these proposals is that they simply extrapolate from past data and current trends that there will be a steady and increasing demand for electrical power, especially peak demand in Dane County. It is a mindless, faulty assumption that we must have or will have growth, and that there is no other alternatives to the business as usual scenario proposed by ATC and its related public utilities. The reality is, at this point in history, for all of modern society, and especially in the United States of America, all past trends and patterns are no longer relevant or applicable due to the fact that we have recently and rapidly discovered that we are in a dead-end global ecosystem, and that we will soon hit 4 global walls that will change everything regarding the future, and that they threaten to end all growth and perhaps human life itself on this planet. This study in no way reflects the crisis that we all face now. I want to quickly list these 4 walls in the order of magnitude of their threats and dangers, and please note I have global warming as the 4th threat, not the first one. The first wall is global economic meltdown. The recent Stern Report 2006 issued by the British government indicates that global warming and other environmental threats will not only end growth, but also we could soon be in a global depression or meltdown far beyond the magnitude of the Great Depression, and that this could take place within the next 10 to 20 years. Instead of wistfully wishing for phantom growth, we should be in a crash mode to plan for avoiding or adjusting this new reality. 2. The second wall is that we most likely have already passed the peak of oil availability, and natural gas will come soon, causing a rapid rise in prices, and all other fossil fuels and nuclear fuels face similar peaks in the not-too-distant future. Instead of continuing our outmoded carbon fuel electrical system and assuming steady growth in demand, we must move to a sustainable solar, hydrogen, biofuel, geothermal future as fast as we can if we are to survive. 3. The third wall is public health, where millions have already died from global warming around the planet, and many more millions are dying prematurely or suffering great health difficulties because of our reliance on carbon-based fossil fuels, especially coal, which makes up 60% of our utility fuels in Wisconsin. The situation is rapidly becoming intolerable. And the fourth wall is global warming, which in the most recent 2007 report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which was issued yesterday, indicates that global warming is growing more rapidly than we thought, with all sorts of dire consequences for human society and for the planet as a whole, threatening life itself on this fragile planet. To contend that we will continue to have economic and energy growth as human society hits those walls in the next decade or two is a deadly fantasy. And all planning projections need to be redone in the context of a rapidly changing economic paradigm to deal with or adjust to these new threats and realities. We submit that ATC and the Wisconsin utilities have either put their heads in the sand and continue their old projection strategies, or they have suppressed attempts to include these concerns, which is why there must be a new and independent study before we get locked into any future plan. A delay of 1 or 2 years will not cause any harm and would provide full information for making these decisions. Furthermore, there are alternative wire materials and other technology available that would allow retrofitting of the existing system rather than building new wasteful grids. There are many more alternatives for dealing with any future growth far into the future, such as conservation, efficiency strategies, and alternative technologies and fuel sources that would lower demand and more efficiently and benignly use what is already in place. To ignore or simply leap over all those possibilities and alternatives in order to make quick profits by building new versions of the same old energy system is reprehensibly immoral. The least we can do is go back to the study process and do a complete job without making all the dangerous and probably false assumptions on which ATC and utility planning in Wisconsin now rest. That's the end of my transcript remark. I'd like to make a personal comment as a professional social ethicist and as a United Methodist minister of 45 years. And this is what haunts me. And I would, in the 10 Commandments in the Old Testament of the Hebrew Bible, it says that the sins of the fathers and mothers will be visited upon the 3rd and 4th generations. And I would like everybody in this room, when you go to bed at night, to ask yourself, is if what I've done today or stood for or proposed will lead my grandchildren to curse me and all the rest of us. because I believe at the way we are going now, our grandchildren will curse us. And since I have 14 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild, I'm probably going to be in my grave getting a lot of cursing directed my way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.